Good morning, Harefield. Just a little follow-up from my last week's thought of the day. Now, I listed all the cars I'd owned in my life last week. Sorry about that. But I ought really to describe how we came to swap our penultimate car, the Skoda Octavia, for the current one, the boring Zafira. Because we bought the Octavia intending to keep it for a long time. But 3 months after getting it, we found we were expecting Jessica. Now, we already knew that it was a narrow car because we'd struggled to fit 3 people across the back seat, and we knew that there was no way that we were going to get 3 car seats across the back. So, to be fair to the children, we really had to get a 7-seater. The problem was we just spent all of our money buying the Octavia, and we had no more money to put into this, because whenever you buy a car it depreciates. So we needed a car that would be no more expensive than whatever we could get for the Octavia. We prayed. Now, obviously, we could just buy some old wreck of a 7-seater. That would certainly be cheaper, but it would be a false economy. So we figured that the previous model Zafira was the cheapest of the decent 7-seaters, and we looked into these. And when we looked on Auto Trader, what we seemed to be looking at was kind of 3 to 5 years old and about 15,000 to 20,000 miles on the clock, which is okay. We went to dealers and test drove a couple, but the dealers did not want to give us much at all for the Skoda in part exchange. So I gave up looking for Zafiras and decided I was going to try and sell the Skoda privately first and then start looking again. But again, no one wanted to buy it, and the lower I made the price, the less Zafira I could get for the money. Vicky was now getting rather large, and we had a date she was going to go to hospital to be persuaded to give birth. Now, we didn't absolutely have to get the new car by that date, as we did have a second car that we could get half the family around in, but really you don't want to be faffing around selling cars when you've got a brand new baby, do you? So we prayed. We needed to sell the Octavia, buy a Zafira for no more than we could get for the Skoda, and all before the date that Vicky goes into hospital. Help God. I dropped the price of the Skoda, and finally someone bought it. It now lives near Epping somewhere, so you may still see it around. But it was now only about a week before Vicky was due to go in. I went back onto the Auto Trader website, and suddenly there was a Zafira, 3 years old, but with only 2,700 miles on it. Yep, that's less than 1,000 miles a year it had done, but still fully serviced by a main dealer each year. It was a bit more money than I'd got for the Skoda, but it would be worth stretching to for something so new. And where in the whole of the country was this car? If it was currently in, say, Aberdeen, then I wasn't going to buy it, but it turned out it was in Hornchurch, just near Romford, about 30 minutes away. A bit sceptical, I went to see the car, and yes, it really did look almost new. I test drove it and found out that it was actually an ex-Motability car, which probably explained the low miles and the full servicing. I said to the salesman, I like it, but it's a bit more than I was intending to spend, and he straight away came back with, well, the most I could take off is £300. Guess what? That took it down to exactly what I had got for the Skoda. So I shook hands on it there and then. Probably the easiest sale the guy had had all year. I couldn't drive the car away that day, but once it had been valeted and the paperwork sorted, I ended up bringing it home literally the day before Vicky went into hospital. So we ended up with a car for no extra cost and before the big deadline. God had answered our prayer. But we'd ended up with a car with far fewer miles on than we'd expected, one that was pretty much unused. He'd not only answered our prayer, he had over-blessed us. Oh, and Jessica arrived soon after, but that was easy compared to getting the car. So what to take from this little testimony? God can work through non-spiritual stuff like buying cars if we let him. He does care about our needs, and we need to look out for his blessings in daily life. He can be trusted, even if he does sometimes leave things right up to the deadline. Have a great day, guys.